and welcome to Finance Foodie. I am Catherine, your host, and I'm looking forward to sharing some fun and interesting information with you about extra virgin olive oil. I just want to forewarn you, I do have a little bit of a cold, so I might sound a little stopped up. Okay, so now that you're all greased up, I want to invite you to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so that you know when a new video gets posted by us. So we're going to start with the rich history. So olive oil holds a significant place with its relevance stretching back to millennia. Dating back to ancient times, olive oil was not only a staple in Mediterranean cuisine, but also played a crucial role in religious rituals, medicine, and economics. Its origins trace back to the Mediterranean region around 6000 BCE, where olive oil trees flourished, and civilizations like the Minoans and Egyptians cultivated olives for their precious oil. Now, the Phoenicians began to disseminate the cultivation of olive trees among the Greek islands. This entailed systematic cultivation methods and not just the exploitation of wild olive trees that had been occurring up until then. After this period, so between 1400 and 1200 BC, the cultivation of olive trees reached mainland Greece. So around 1050 BC, the same Phoenicians took this method to Spain, and today they are the greatest olive oil producer in the world. So navigators and merchants of recognized competence maintained the constant trade with North Africa, which in that period was a producer of olive oil. The Phoenicians formed a bridge between the olive tree plantations in the regions to the south of Carthage in Africa and the Boeotia region in Hispania, giving rise to one of the most important and oldest agricultural traditions in history. In ancient Greece, olive oil symbolized wealth and abundance, while in Rome it was used for cooking, lighting lamps, and even in cosmetics. And due to their legendary, almost divine power, olive oil trees marked Greek social life in an enduring manner. One remarkable example of this was the very first Olympic Games, which took place in 776 BC. And the prize for champions was an olive branch, symbolizing peace and friendship among the competitors. And the ancient athletes also covered themselves in olive oil for aesthetic reasons and because they believed that it would warm the muscles. So olive oil was not seen as just a simple ingredient for cooking. Back in these ancient times, it was very much a part of their everyday life, at least for those that could afford it. And then in 500 BC, when we move into the Roman Empire, the power exerted by the olive tree was so great that the statues of gods, scepters, and weapons of combat were made with its wood. It was believed that the children of the gods were born in the shade of an olive tree, which is where the legend of Romulus and Remus, who are the founders of Rome, were said to have been born. And this belief led many pregnant women to give birth under olive trees. Pintrello, a historian and Roman annalist, defended the thesis that the first olive tree in Italy sprouted during the kingdom of Lucius Priscus the Elder in 616 to 578 BC. And this was possibly having been brought from Tripoli or the Gauls in Tunisia. From then on, the Romans began to encourage the growing of olive trees in the countries that they have conquered. And even if this were not true, it actually happens that in these countries there were already olive trees. But the influence of Rome was really the springboard that gave the impulse and importance to the development of cultivating those olives. So, in periods of ancient history, the production technique and possession of a certain food performed the role that today major discoveries in technological domains exercise for royalty holders. So, possessing the technique to produce bread, wine, and olive oil in detriment to the simple obtaining of meat and milk was a strong sign of a civilization and a distinction among men. So if you were capable of creating and producing your own food, then it was much better than having to hunt or gather. In North Africa, in the same region where olive trees were found 14,000 years ago, the Romans encouraged the cultivation of olive trees and the production of the oil. And so from there, they centralized the trade incentives from Rome. And in these regions, ruins of dozens of presses and storehouses from that time have been found, revealing that there was a great olive oil production, which made North Africa one of the most important domains of the Roman Empire. Until this day, Morocco and Tunisia continue to be major producers of olive oil. In Roman times, their food still represents the region. The commonest foods then were game birds, some sort of wheat mixture, or like bread, cakes cooked in bonfires or in the ashes of wheat, barley, spelled, or millet-based ovens. There were soups and creams. But besides this, there were also legumes such as beans, chickpeas, lentils, peas, garlic, leeks, onion, and cabbage. However, the Greco-Roman food was based on 3 staples: wheat, wine, and olives. And this reference is actually theoretical, but we know that this is what they wanted us to believe based on murals and sculptures of the time. So it seeks to create an aura of superiority for these peoples, perpetuating the concept that they were always seeking simple, healthy food. So, of course, we have to reference the biblical significance of olive trees and oil. So from the Old Testament, where Noah sends out a dove during the Great Flood, and it returns with an olive branch, to Moses, freeing the Jews from Egypt, where God has promised them a land full of wine, oil, and honey, to Jesus' final night, where he went to the Mount of Olives, and he left his disciples at Gethsemane, which is actually an oil mill, so that he could go pray before he was betrayed and taken into custody. So while there are many more biblical references, we would have to have a whole video on them, and you're here for history, not a Bible study. So if you would like me to do a video on food significance in different religions and regions, let me know in the comments below. In order to keep its empire supplied with olive oil, Rome offered 2 basic benefits to those who planted olive trees. They gave them financial support until the trees started to bear fruit, and a guarantee of peace. An olive tree takes 5 years to start bearing fruit, and at its peak reached at about 20 years. Around 1 century BC, the Roman Empire extended eastward from Spain to Syria and northward to Britain, and then southward to the Sahara. The citizens of these ancient republics were originally small farmers, producing for family consumption and then exchanging the surplus. But throughout decades, even centuries of occupation, the lands were destroyed by Rome, and they were grabbed by enterprising aristocrats who pieced together small properties to form large ones, using a lot of slave labor from the colonies. So over time, these landlords transformed these plots into rich wine and olive producing areas that were geared to the export market. So for the more needy inhabitants, the public administration in Rome made regular distributions of free food, including patties of cereals and olive oil. So joining together food and the fights between gladiators and between gladiators and the wild animals, it constituted a famous Roman panis et circenses. And as the Roman Empire expanded, the spread of olive cultivation across Europe held great importance in various cultures. So we're going to move through time at about 500 AD. So during the Middle Ages, monasteries played a vital role in preserving olive cultivation techniques, ensuring its continuity through the turbulent times. And in this historical period that lasted approximately 12th century, the world underwent battles, invasions, plagues, pests, droughts, floods, the expansion of Christianity, the emergence of Islamism, periods of great demographic density and population scarcity, deforestation caused by man, and natural reforestation. Europe was devastated over the centuries, and its great oil tree plantations had succumbed to the craziness of man and the vulgarities of nature. And this makes us understand why, in the centuries subsequent to the classical period, the references regarding olive oil are kind of controversial, with reports of reduced quality and quantity. And with the passage of the Prophet Muhammad between 570 and 632, the Arabs began a significant period of religious expansion. And this involved conquests in Central Asia, reaching Indonesia and West Africa, culminating in the conquest in a great part of Spain and the Andalusia region, becoming the center of its administration. So this dominion impregnated Spanish culture to such a degree that the Arab presence in its life is evident even today. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, just like the Bible and the Torah, at various points talks about the virtues of olive oil, demonstrating the Islamic weight for this delicacy. And again, I can dive deeper into the religious importance of different foods if you go ahead and you comment below. So the Arabs received this as a benefit of conquest through generations of Spanish farmers who had maintained the tradition and agrarian techniques inherited from past centuries. The descendants of those farmers kept up the tradition of olive cultivation, guaranteeing it for the next generation throughout the Middle Ages. So around 1200 AD, it was the end of the Middle Ages. And this was marked by various economic and social factors. So population growth was imposing more and more of a demand for food, but trade was still a little precarious. The land in turn demonstrated productive insufficiency, as planting techniques were far too primitive, and besides always being subject to the risk of pests and drought. So these centuries were marked by major food shortages, high prices, and devastating epidemics like the Black Plague, which in Europe had actually decimated a third of the population. So in order to flee from the Black Plague, many serfs or the hired help abandoned their feudal situations. And this caused generalized disorganization in the production in the countryside. One part headed towards the cities and another went to the woods. Those that turned to the woods became kind of like outlaws. And this shift resulted in reductions of agricultural surpluses and serious commercial losses. And as a result, for years, great food shortages hit Europe as a whole. So in this period at the end of the Middle Ages, although the feudal landlords maintained possession of the land, they were losing their main productive input, the serfs. So there began a new model of production, with the landlords resorting to pay salaries to their workers. In some regions of Europe, at the beginning of these centuries, slave traffic reemerged to fill the labor gap. And so this explains the continuation of the predominance in the production of olive oil, when dozens of thousands of Negroes were imported to work in the local plantations, which they had been doing in Africa. So although this fact goes almost unnoticed throughout history, it is certain that this enormous amount of slave labor was significant in the reassumption of the olive oil trade. According to Alessandro Stella, there was a veritable genocide eliminating any vestige of the existence of the slave labor. That sounds like the original PR cover-up. So little by little, the peasants broke free from the restraints that had kept them under a medieval semi-slavery regime. Those serfs skilled in crafts sought the cities to sell their productive capacity in a more human, more profitable conditions. and the feudal lord found himself obliged to find incentives for production in other domains. And with this, the peasants began to accept payment in cash instead of a significant part of the harvest. But there was an ever-growing demand for agricultural production. The combination of these structural factors signaled the end of feudalism, and a new era began. With the advent of capitalism, the peasants began to understand their power as an instrument for their very survival. Okay, so what seems to be a fact is that throughout the Middle Ages, there was no abandonment of olive oil and its flavor of other fats, but there was a significant decline in its supply. Olive oil really became practically domestic. So whenever possible, each country or region or settlement would produce just enough to be self-sufficient. So attempting to find recipes from that time period is like panning for gold. And then with the age of exploration, olive oil found its way to new lands, becoming integral into the culinary traditions of the Americas and beyond. So 28 years after the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus, the first oil tree saplings were shipped to the New World. During this century, Argentina, Chile, California, and Peru already possessed olive tree plantations, and they were brought from Mexico where they had been initially been planted. In modern times, scientific research has unveiled the olive oil's health benefits, promoting its consumption worldwide. And today it remains a cornerstone of the Mediterranean diet, celebrated for its flavor, versatility, and nutritional value. So while its cultural and historical significance continues to enrich global culinary heritage, it's great to have it just every day. But we do need to understand that the oils that cover the grocery store shelves are not all created equally. Olive oil and extra virgin olive oil are both types of oils extracted from olives, but they do differ in terms of quality, production methods, and taste. So we're going to jump into the key reasons and differences on why. So we're going to start with quality and grade. Extra virgin olive oil, which I'm going to call Evo, has the highest quality and least processed form of olive oil. So it is made from pure cold-pressed olives without the use of any heat or chemicals. And because of this, Evo has a superior taste, aroma, and nutritional profile compared to other grades. So just standard olive oil is sometimes labeled as pure olive oil or just olive oil. And it is a lower grade compared to extra virgin. And it's a blend of cold-pressed and then processed oils. And it's often mixed with a certain percentage of the extra virgin olive oil. So then we move on to processing. And I talked a little about this, but Evo is produced through mechanical means. So like pressing or centrifugation. Excuse me. But it's without the heat or chemicals. And this helps retain the natural flavors, colors, and aroma of the olives. Whereas the production of regular olive oil involves refining, such as heating and the use of chemicals to extract the oils. And this can affect the flavor and nutritional content. And so Evo is known for its rich, robust flavor and its distinct aroma. And it often has a fruity, peppery, or like a grassy taste, and an acidity level is lower than other grades. So regular olive oil typically has a milder flavor and may lack the complexity and nuances found in extra virgin olive oil. And then comes the nutritional content, right? Because Evo is going to retain more of those natural antioxidants and vitamins found in olives due to the minimal processing. And so it's going to be considered a healthier option. And while regular olive oil is still a good source of monosaturated fats, it may have a slightly lower nutritional value compared to Evo. So because of this, they're going to be used in different ways. So Evo is usually used in salad dressings, so drizzling over finished dishes and as a dipping oil, because its rich flavor makes it as suitable for applications where you really want to taste the oil as a key component. Whereas olive oil is just used in cooking, baking, and frying due to its milder taste and its slightly higher smoke point compared to extra virgin olive oil. European oil is known for its quality due to the many factors that contribute to it, including the type of olive tree, the region where it's grown, and the time of harvest. For example, olive trees in Italy have double the polyphenol content than those in the United States. And many olive oils from Italy have been recognized at international quality competitions. Spain's diverse climate and microclimates and a good quality soils also contribute to the quality of its olive oil, as each variety of olive tree produces olives with their own texture, aroma, and taste. Other factors that contribute to the quality of European olive oil are going to include farming practices, because independent farmers in Italy have been using century-old farming methods, which helps to ensure the quality of the oil. Then there's traditional methods. Many Greek olive oil producers still use traditional methods of production, such as cold pressing and hand harvesting, which help to preserve the quality of the oil. And then some of the top quality extra virgin olive oils are only available in local markets that are sold near the grove. So you can't just order it online. You can look for the IGP or DOP food certifications, which are hard to achieve, but the DOP designation has stricter rules than the IGP designation for olive oils. And that brings us to a 2019 journal in Trends in Food Science and Technology, where they discuss the scientific health benefits of olive oil, specifically EVO. So it states that there's an increasing trend in the consumption of olive oil, especially EVO, due to its health benefits. And these health benefits are mainly correlated to health promoting components of olive oil, such as those polyphenols, tocopherols, and carotids. So positive effects of olive oil in the inhibition of foodborne pathogens, stimulation of the growth of beneficial microorganisms, and its antioxidant activity. These attributes make olive oil one of the leading healthy edible oils worldwide. So Scope and Approach to the current study overviews the recent findings on the health benefits of olive oil consumption, including its effects on the gut microbia and its antioxidant activity and its ability to prevent cardiovascular disease, or CVD. We're going to jump to the key findings and conclusions of this study. And it showed that olive oils originated from various regions of the world can pose some positive effects on your gut microbia, and that the edible oil, especially extra virgin, can prevent CVD due to the high levels of valuable bioactive components and the presence of highly bioavailable health-promoting carotenoids such as provitamin A, B-carotene, and lutein. Essentially, what it's stating is that the ingestion of extra virgin olive oil can be beneficial in preventing cancer and type 2 diabetes. So the consumption of olive oil, especially extra virgin, can be recommended not only because of its healthy fat acid profile, but also due to valuable positive effects of its bioactive components on human health. In the most recent article highlighted on May 6, 2024 from AMA Morning Rounds titled Consumption of Olive Oil and Diet Quality and Risk of Dementia-Related Death. So they reviewed a decade-long study by the FFQ. So the initial study started being administered in 1990, and it touched base with their participants every 4 years thereafter up until 28 years. So participants were asked how frequently they consumed specific foods, including types of fats and oils used for cooking or added to meals in the past 12 months. So total olive oil intake was determining by summing up answers to 3 questions related to olive oil consumption. So if olive oil was used for salad dressings, added to food or bread, or used for baking and frying at home. So the importance of this study started in 1990 was due to the age standardized dementia mortality rates being on the rise. And so many of us have been touched by dementia in some way. This study really wanted to determine whether long-term consumption of olive oil and diet quality are associated with dementia-related death, because at that time it was completely unknown. So, to examine the association of olive oil intake with the subsequent risk of dementia-related death and assess the joint allocation of diet quality and substitution for other fats. So this study examined data from the Nurses' Health Study, or NHS, from 1990 to 2018, and the Health Professionals Follow-Up Study, or HPFS, from 1990 to 2018. And so this included women from the NHS and men from the HPFS who were free of cardiovascular disease and cancer when they started. The data ended up being analyzed from May 2022 until July 2023. So olive oil intake was assessed every 4 years using a food frequency questionnaire. And diet quality was based on the Alternative Health Eating Index and Mediterranean Diet Score. So death was ascertained from the death records of the participants of those that were deceased. So in these findings in the study of over 92,000 adults observed over 28 years was that the consumption of more than 7 grams per deciliter, or G/D, of olive oil was associated with a 28% lower risk of dementia-related death compared with never or rarely consuming olive oil. And this was despite other diet quality markers, which is important because it gave the participants free rein on their diets. So what does this mean? It means that olive oil intake represents a potential strategy to reduce your dementia mortality risk. In conclusion, the study found that in U.S. adults, particularly women, consuming more olive oil was associated with a lower risk of dementia-related mortality, regardless of diet quality. So substituting olive oil intake for margarine and mayonnaise was associated with lower risk of dementia mortality and might even be a potential strategy to improve the longevity of a dementia-free life. And because of the health benefits that olive oil has for our bodies, it is no surprise that the Mediterranean diet, which is very Evo forward, has been credited for extending life expectancy and health overall. And this is just your simple reminder that if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that bell notification so that you are alerted to when we post the video deep diving into the Mediterranean diet and how you can make small changes that make a big difference in your diet. And we will also get into studies about how the mind lifestyle has been attributed to longer life expectancy. Hey everyone, I'm just popping in to tell you about Tingly. So Tingly has so many amazing things, whether you're looking for Father's Day, birthday, or the perfect wedding gift. So what is it? It's an experience gift box. You can also buy gift cards or getaway gift boxes, and people are able to use to add to a vacation or even just an outing for the day. So go ahead and use my affiliate link, which is linked down below in the description box, to get your last minute Father's Day gift, the perfect wedding gift, or even an awesome one-of-a-kind birthday gift. When we think of olive oil, most people immediately think of food, but there are so many other ways that olive oil can be used. So first off, it can be used as skincare as a moisturizer. So Evo can be applied to dry skin as a natural moisturizer. Because it contains healthy antioxidants and healthy fats that can nourish and hydrate the skin. In fact, when my daughter had eczema, my Italian mother told me to put olive oil on her after a bath, especially in those areas where her eczema was really bad. And within a couple of days, there was already a noticeable change in her skin. And I'm not saying that it's going to work for anyone, but I do know that by putting olive oil on my face as a part of my nighttime routine, my skin tends to retain more moisture. It wrinkles less and it tends to stay clearer. And plus, it's super soft. Also, it can be used as a gentle makeup remover, including your eye makeup. Then there's hair care. So if you apply a small amount of Evo to the ends of your hair to condition and add shine, and then leave it on for a little while before you wash your hair. And then there's scalp treatment. So you can massage a small amount onto your scalp to alleviate dryness and flakiness. And I know a lot of times people will add essential oils to the olive oil that promote hair growth or relaxation. So like using one of those scalp massagers can also aid in getting the oil into your scalp to help work its magic. There's also nail and cuticle care. So if you rub a small amount of Evo onto your cuticles to moisturize and soften them, especially after you get them done. Body scrub. If you put Evo with sugar or salt to create a natural exfoliating scrub for the body. And again, I love this one. I actually use olive oil and salt to exfoliate my legs before I shave them. Then there's lip scrub. So you can use this again with a bit of sugar and create a gentle scrub to use on your lips. And because Evo is a natural antifungal, the antibiotic properties that they contain can be used on small cuts after washing them out to help ward off infections. And again, my Italian family has always sworn on garlic in Evo or garlic oil in olive oil at the start of ear pain to help naturally fight the bacterial infection. And this is actually medically backed to work. And I'm just saying that both my kids have only ever had one ear infection in their entire life, and I credit that to garlic and olive oil. You can also use olive oil as a natural alternative to commercial furniture polishes. You can mix it with a small amount of vinegar and then apply it with a soft cloth. You can use it as a leather conditioner. You can add it to polished leather items such as shoes or bags. Another one I use, stainless steel cleaner. So if you apply just a small amount to a cloth after you wash it and then use it to polish to remove fingerprints from your stainless steel appliances. And you don't have to worry about, being toxic for your little ones. You can use it for candle holders. So you can apply a thin layer of Evo to a candle holder before inserting the candles, and this will make it easier to remove the melted wax later. And then the last one, you can use it to clean and condition paintbrushes by massaging a small amount into the bristles before you wash it. And like with your hair, this is going to help condition the bristles, especially if they are all natural brushes. And if you're going to be using Evo for non-cooking purposes, it's really advisable to use quality, pure product. And you might want to keep in mind that because it's a quality product, it might leave a residual oil scent. And so you have to consider your personal preferences and sensitivities to that. And then there's other oils. So when you're choosing between the two, it's really important to consider the intended use. Extra virgin olive oil is best for applications where the oil's flavor is going to be prominent, while regular olive oil may be more suitable for general cooking purposes. If you're looking for the other top two best cooking oils, consider coconut and avocado oils. So coconut oil is going to be best for baking, stir fry, sauteing at high temperatures. And some of the health benefits is that they're going to contain saturated fats, but they're primarily in the medium chain triglycerides, or MCTs, which some studies suggest may have health benefits. And then there's going to be avocado oil. So this is going to be best for high heat cooking, grilling, and roasting because it has a smoke point of 500 degrees Fahrenheit compared to the smoke point of Evo at 410 and unrefined coconut oil at 350. But some of the health benefits of avocado oil is that they are high in monosaturated fats and also contain vitamin E and other antioxidants. So now that we know the history of olive oil, its many uses for our health and bodies, you might be thinking, but olive oil is so much more expensive than vegetable oil or other seed oils. So substituting those should be okay, right? Well, the labels on vegetable oils promote that they are great for your health. Seed oils such as grapeseed and canola are promoted as great, cheaper alternative. But are these marketing sayings actually true? And if they aren't, then how legal is it to add to their branding? Well, join me next time as we jump into the world of vegetable oil, where it originated from, where it is today, the studies surrounding it, and the truth that we're all searching for. Thank you so much for joining me today and watching Finance Beauty. Bye!